Well, welcome to the second half of our Candidates Forum tonight. We're certainly glad to have you here. I just wanted to make a reminder to those of you who may have come in just for the second part of the show tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We like to be involved in city government and school board business, and we encourage citizens to become involved. But we are nonpartisan, which means the League does not support nor oppose any particular party, nor any particular candidate. So we hope we have presented you with an opportunity tonight to hear from all candidates so you can make your own decision when you go to vote early or on election day. We have information about our voter's guide that we've published online. There are some papers like this floating around in the auditorium that will help you find our voter's guide. And we would like to invite all of you to attend any other meetings that we might have. We look forward to seeing you there. And if you would like to be contacted about anything coming up or about how to become a member of the League of Women Voters, please leave your information at the desk in the hall, and we will look forward to seeing you again. And I'd like to introduce our moderator again. Catherine Holman is a League of Women Voters of Dallas member. She's an experienced moderator, and she has been the president of the League. We're delighted to have her here with us again tonight, and she's going to take charge and tell us what we need to know about the procedure that's coming before you now. So thank you again for being here. And Catherine.
Thank you. Just so we all understand the format we're going to be using tonight, I'm going to run through the rules. First, we have no questions that will be coming from the audience. All the questions have been submitted online, and we will be asking the candidates questions that both the Irving League members and their co-sponsors have selected from the online pool of questions. After the candidates make their 1-minute introductions, I will begin asking those questions, always alternating which candidate answers first. Each candidate has 1 minute to respond. We have a timekeeper holding up card to let the candidate know when they're running out of time. And finally, once all the questions have been asked, the candidates will be making their 1-minute closing statements. So before the candidates begin with their introductory statements, let's give them all a round of applause and appreciation. Everybody, please make sure that your cell phones are quieted. And for the duration of this forum, refrain from applauding or in any way showing support or non-support for a candidate. We have Officer Ickes is here to assist me if I need any help in that regard. All right, opening with the introductory statement is Irving ISD Place 5 candidate Manuel Benavides. Mr. Benavides, you have 1 minute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Manuel Benavides. I'm a candidate for the Board of Trustees in the Area Independent School District for District 5. Let me tell you about myself. I was raised in San Antonio, graduated of Senior Linear High School, a veteran, served in the United States Army, U.S. Air Force, a graduate of Spartan School of Aeronautics, certified aircraft technician, retired from American Airlines after 28 years at DFW International Airport. I'm a 32nd degree Mason, and also 35 years ago, part of a group that worked for Irving for DART. And as you know, DART is really something that everybody should be proud of. And that's one of the things that we accomplished that. And as I mentioned also, I'm a 32nd degree Mason, a member of Luffield Lodge since 1971. Also, the founder of the Irving Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and a member of the League of United Latin American Citizens. And I would like to emphasize that if I should have the opportunity to serve you as your trustee, I will be
We have
the one
time.
to listen to your concerns.
We're out of time.
We'll know how to direct your answers and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Craig.
Good evening. I'm Gwen Craig, and I am the incumbent for District 5 and hope to be there again. I am a graduate of Irving High School, and we won't say how many years, but a long time ago. I'm an Irving resident for 26 years. All three of our children have been raised in Irving schools and have gotten a very good education here. I'm a past member of the District Improvement Council. I am a 20-year educator. I spent 3 years as a paraprofessional, and then I went back and got my degree, taught 8 years, and then was a counselor for 9 years. I have worked with kids from pre-K all the way up to high school, so I kind of understand what children need to be successful, and so I hope that you will keep me on the board this year. Thank you.
Mr. Mosty, another Place 5 candidate. You have 1 minute.
Thank you very much. I hope that I can bring new spectacular leadership to the Irving schools. I really know what's going on in the schools today. I'm a father of 4 children. Actually, when I added it all up, I've been working for those schools for 40 years, but you'll have to figure that out later. Anyway, I love teaching in Irving. I taught 34 years at Elliott and Lamar Middle School, the first exemplary elementary school in Irving and the National Blue Ribbon School. After that, I retired and substituted in the district. I substituted all the high schools, middle schools, and most of the elementaries. I was a fly on the wall, and I got to see exactly what's going on. Anyway, after that, I decided I was mentored to first-year teachers and helped them in their journey in teaching, and they were helped them be successful in their classroom and their students. I have seen and I am very aware of our strengths and our weaknesses in our district today. I want to make our school top-notch again. Thank you very much.
And Place 7 candidate, Mike Gregory. Mr. Gregory, 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum tonight. Mike Gregory, District 7, at-large, independent, IISD. In 1973, my bride and I, or my bride-to-be and I at that time, picked Irving as a midpoint because I was living in Dallas and working in Dallas, and she was living and working in Arlington. So what was a decision of convenience then, after 40 years, has now become a commitment. My reason for running is twofold. Number one, I feel the urge and the need to serve the community that's blessed us so well over these 40 years, as well as I believe I bring some gifts and talents that will serve the board well. I have previous leadership and governance experience. I served on the board from 1995 through 1998 and hoped to run for a second term, but my self-employed business didn't allow me to do so. So in a sense, I'm scratching an unscratched itch. I have 30 years of accounting and finance experience, much of which with nonprofits, doing financial statement preparation, review, and audits. And I'm a CFO at the church that I've attended for the past 35 years. I invite you to visit my website, www.mikegregory2013.com. Thank you.
Also Place 7 candidate, Randy Randall.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I am Randy Randall, running for District 7 on the school board, which is the at-large district. I'm a lifelong resident of Irving. Me and my wife both attended the Irving schools and graduated from Nimitz High School. I had 2 sons who graduated from Nimitz and went through the Irving schools. Currently have a niece and a nephew attending, one in elementary school and one at our middle schools. I've served in PTAs, booster clubs, throughout my years of kids going to school, and currently a PTA member. I've served on 2 campus improvement committees and currently serving on the district improvement committee. My entire adult life has been working with kids through coaching baseball or teaching Sunday school for youth Sunday school for the last 28 years. I have had the privilege to serve as a city councilman for 6 years. I'm one of the owners of a family business here in town, which has always supported the Irving schools. I feel I can bring a positive influence to our school board, and I'm looking forward to serve you.
Next is Carrollton Farmers Branch Place 5 candidate Peggy Babick. 1 minute.
Hi, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for allowing us to come out tonight. I have been a resident of Carrollton for 33 years with 9 months while my husband and I moved to Addison right after we got married, but we came back. I graduated from Newman Smith High School. I taught at Perry Middle School in Carrollton Farmers Branch. And I am now an extremely active volunteer. I've been all the PTA, I've been on all the PTAs. I have done everything that can be imagined, but mostly what I do is I'm in there with the kids and to help the teachers as much as possible. I am so often, one of the middle schools, so often the kids actually think I work there. I spend a lot of Saturdays doing things for different activities, and I just want to say I'm there for the kids, and that's why I'm here, and for the teachers. Thank you.
Also, Carrollton Farmers Branch Place 5 candidate Jose Galvez.
Thank you for inviting us to be here with you tonight. As they stated, I'm running for school board Place 5, Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD. A little bit about myself. I'm a resident of Farmers Branch for about 8 years. And I'm also happy to say that Irving was my home back in my younger days. This is where I rented my first apartment, and this is where I developed also a lot of my management skills, about 11, 12 years working for corporations here in Irving. Just want to let you know also I'm happily married man and father to my younger daughter. She goes to the district school, and my older daughter is TCU Horned Frog. I've been helping or working with Janie Stark Elementary as a PTA vice president, chair for the different events, and we grew the PTA by over 40%, which was the best in the whole state of Texas.
And Carrollton Farmers Branch Place 5 candidate Melinda Grandel.
Hi, my name is Melinda Grandel. I'm also running for Place 5 for Carrollton Farmers Branch. And again, thank you so much for hosting us tonight, and thank you so much for staying and listening to what we have to say. I have a bachelor's degree in communications with a minor in political science. I am proud to say that after a written and oral interview with the Metrotex Realtors Association, that they did endorse me. I do feel so passionate about our school district. Carrollton Farmers Branch is doing an outstanding job educating their students, and I want to be part of that continued success. In spite of the economic downturn, we have continued to provide amazing teachers and phenomenal programs for our students that don't just meet the state standards, but provide creative ways to educate our children. And I hope I get an opportunity to tell you about some of those in a few minutes. Thank you so much.
And Carrollton Farmers Branch Place 5 candidate Randy Shackman.
Good evening. I'm the other Randy. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having us. I am Randy Shackman, running for Place 5. I'm a graduate of Cascade College in Portland, Oregon. Did my master's at Pepperdine University, postgraduate credentials from the law school at William and Mary. I have been in business successfully for a number of years and run my own consulting firm. And what I bring to this race is experience beyond my 25 years of working as a PTA person, as a booster club parent, and in all the different ways at schools and school site council, etc. What I bring to this race is tested, proven experience. I'm the only one of the 4 candidates running who's ever served on a significant board. I've been training boards for over 20 years. That's what my consulting firm does, and we help them to provide balanced budgets and to make things work for their organizations, and I look forward to bringing that kind of expertise and that tested, proven experience to Carrollton Farmers Branch Schools.
Thank you. Now we'll start with the questions. Question 1, what is your position on teaching English to non-English speaking students? How does this comply with the state bilingual mandate? Ms. Craig, we'll start with you first.
Thank you very much. My position on teaching English to non-English speaking students is that we must support our students in any way we can. We have about 40% of our students that come with us speaking a different language besides English. Those students have to go to the testing center and be tested. Then they are offered the services that they need to help them to be successful. The parent, however, has the choice on whether their child goes to a bilingual class or if they go to an ESL class. And I think we must comply with the state bilingual mandates. It says that you must offer bilingual to students that that qualify for that service. And my personal opinion, I want kids to access the English language as quickly as possible, but I still want them to have resources while they're doing it. Thank you.
Mr. Mosty.
Thank you. Being a sixth grade teacher at Lamar Middle School, that's kind of the end of their journey for the bilingual students. There's no more support. All the teachers are actually ESL certified, so their strength is still there in the teacher's support. But it's really difficult for them if they haven't mastered the language by the sixth grade, because then all of your state mandated tests are then in English. There's no choice. There's no bilingual testing. So the sooner we can get them into the language and the language acquired, it's going to be better off. Yes, they have to go to the language center, but it's how you ask the questions and how you present it to the parents as to the results that you get. I'd like to have some scripts given to the people at the language center so that they're not biased in either way. Because I've had some parents tell me, said, no, I didn't want them in there. I told them not to, and then there they were. Thank you.
Mr. Gregory.
Well, I think the fact that we have several candidates up here who all believe that we want our students to quickly transition from non-English to English, I don't think there's any disagreement on that. So the question is, how do we best accomplish that? The research that I've done indicates that the mandated bilingual program does have an appeal to a certain level of education, whereas immersion has an appeal to other levels of education. And so it doesn't have to be an either or. I think it needs to be a both and. And so I would encourage our district to look at a program that is more immersive than the ESL program. I'm certainly not an educational expert, and I'm not the one to recommend that, but I would ask our superintendent, our administration, to look at various immersion programs that do serve certain populations better than bilingual, but keeping in mind, as long as bilingual is mandated, it has to be offered to those parents.
Mr. Randall.
Well, I think we do have to, make sure our parents understand that what the difference is between bilingual and the other options they have in the bilingual programs that we offer at the Irving School District. I think we have to make them understand that in order to do their student justice and help them to succeed, that the quicker we can get them proficient in English, the better results they will have as a student and as better results they will have after high school. So I think we must work to have an early exit model where a student will get into bilingual courses and bilingual classes, but by the time they're into the second grade, or at least at the latest the third grade, they are moving into a full English-speaking class.
Ms. Babick.
Okay, with Carrollton Farmers Branch, it is obviously the law for bilingual education. It's just up to each school district to decide how to do it. I have been, I'm on the District Improvement Council, and they just covered this last Monday. And again, they covered it at the school board work study session. And there's 3 reasons for the program we have as a pilot. It's called a dual language program. And the first one is because it's the law. That's why we have it. The second one is to create an even higher level of achievement. If someone speaks Spanish, that's what they call their L1, or their language that they originally speak. But in order to be proficient in English, or to even get there, they have to be proficient in both languages. So they're learning the proficiency in both at the same time. And it takes 7 to 8 years in order to learn a language to be proficient at it. So that's it.
Mr. Galvez.
I think Carrollton Farmers Branch is doing a great job in fulfilling the goals and the desires of the state. Having said that, I also thankful for bilingual education. I'm a product of it. I was born in Old Mexico in 1967 and migrated over here in 1978. I'm still learning English, but I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to be in bilingual education. It's a great tool. We need it. Going through this process has made me be involved in management in different companies to the point that I've been running my own business now for past 3 years. So having had the opportunity to be part of this has helped me greatly, and I'm grateful for that. So we should continue to support this.
Ms. Grandel.
Yes, I think also I agree that our district is doing an outstanding job educating students. Our district's motto is high achievement for all students, and we do a really, really good job fulfilling that. Not only do we meet the state mandate of providing the ESL programs for our children that come here, we would do a disservice to our kids if we did not provide the best language opportunities to educate them in the most fulfilling way that we can. And also, one thing that Peggy mentioned was the dual language program. So not only are we educating our kids that speak another language, translating into learning to speak English, but we're also teaching our English-speaking kids with a dual language opportunity how to speak Spanish, where we have a day that is blended with curriculum taught in English and in Spanish. Thank you very much.
Mr. Shackman.
My wife is an English language arts teacher at Vivian Field Middle School and been there for a lot of years, and I wonder if she wouldn't say we need to teach more English to our English kids. But with that being said, we are practicing and providing both the bilingual and the English immersion processes in various ways throughout the district. It is imperative that we support our kids, that we get our kids, all of our kids, into English as quickly as possible. I had the opportunity to live in China. I didn't study in Chinese. It would have been a benefit to me. We need to make sure that our students are growing up extremely competent and capable and proficient in English language all the way across the board, supported through bilingual, supported through whatever processes, and we're doing that in Carrollton Farmers Branch.
Mr. Benavides.
On this question on bilingual education, I would like to say that every student don't learn at the same level. And especially if a young person is not able to communicate in the formative language or the communicative language that is English. And so in this situation, you would have to provide the necessary resources in order for the young people to understand what the teacher is trying to communicate to them. And I would say that also one of the most important issues in a classroom would be bilingual teachers. Bilingual teachers can be able to communicate if the child is not able to look at the English portion of what is trying to be presented, and yet she can communicate with the student in order for him to be able to come up to the level of the rest of the students.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Most would agree that trustees govern and superintendents have the responsibility for the day-to-day management of the district. How do you view the role of a trustee, and how is that different from the role of the superintendent? Mr. Mosty, we'll start with you.
Well, when elected, my role changes from a citizen to a trustee. As a trustee, you're invited to the schools. If you want to go to the schools, you have to get an appointment. An appointment is made, and you have to make it to specific places. You cannot just walk the halls. You cannot just show up at meetings. I was able to through my experience, to knock on some doors, listen to some parents. But whenever as trustees, I would have to change that role. I'd have to start listening. I think that there's some goals that we have the superintendent needs to meet as far as teacher morale, because those are issues right now in our classroom. But as a trustee, it's a superintendent's job to figure out what to do about it and to keep our teachers here in Irving. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Gregory, the role of the trustee and how it's different from that of the superintendent.
Board policy is very clear about the role of superintendent and the role of the board. There are 25 shalls, 13 mays that the board is involved in. And number one, one of the primary roles of the board is to, number one, create the vision and mission for the district, hire the superintendent who is in line with that goal, provide him and her the resources to accomplish those goals, and number four, to evaluate the superintendent's performance. So we're overseeing the management of the district. That is our responsibility. We do not dictate such things as curriculum. We don't dictate other matters. We leave that to the professionals. We're not the professional educators. The superintendent has the resources and has provided the resources to put into place those pieces that he or she needs to carry out the vision and mission of the district, which the board is charged with creating. Thank you.
Mr. Randall.
Well, I would agree that the trustees would set the vision and the policies and the plan that the superintendent would then put into action. Coming from a business perspective, as a business owner, I look at it as a common sense really approach, is that you put a plan in action and you put people in the place to run that plan, and then you look at the results that you get out of it. If the results are not what you want to be as a board, then you either got to relook at your plan or you got to relook at the people that are putting the plan into action. And I think then you have to make assessments on what decisions you have to make.
Ms. Babick.
Okay, the role of the superintendent is to run the district and make the final decisions. But I believe the role of a trustee is to be the voice of the students, the parents, and the teachers. And when they bring ideas to the school board, what I can do as a former teacher and being in the schools is if they bring an idea, I can say, is that really going to work in the classroom? And with my experience, that's something that I'll really be able to bring to the board. And obviously, as a parent, I'll be able to bring my student side, and as a former student, I'll be able to bring what I remember as a student in the district. But I think the most important thing is being in the schools, listening to the teachers, listening to the students, and deciding whether or not what they want to do will actually work, and then let that be known to the superintendent.
Mr. Galvez.
It's very clear that the superintendent is the one that runs the schools. Our job would be to work together and make sure that the policies, the goals, the desires, the dreams are being implemented, follow the rules, the financial and all that stuff. So our responsibility would be to work together as one and listen to the needs of our community, make sure that every student is not left behind, make sure that every student gets the best option to succeed in life, and continue to listen to our teachers and local people, so that we can all work together and provide the best education. We don't, our responsibility would be to, obviously to hire the superintendent, but just to influence also in how we go about making decisions and make sure those decisions are the best for all our students.
Ms. Grandel.
Mr. Gregory said it extremely well, that our role is very well defined and that we are not the professional educators, but we leave that to the superintendent and other administrators. My role for more than 13 years has not just been as a member of the different organizations within the school, but in a leadership capacity. And I've always had a great working relationship with principals and other parents as a president of the PTA, as a parliamentarian. And so I know that as a trustee, that my working relationship for so many years with so many people would be to listen to what the parents have to say and take that. And I know that I have the ear of the current administration because our relationship is so good. Thank you.
Mr. Shackman.
The Texas Education Code actually spells out 15 responsibilities to board members. Those get defined then and broken into additional pieces as we move into the board policy. Having trained boards for 20-some years, the role between the executive director, or in the case of the schools, our superintendent, the role of the board is very clearly defined. But it is essential to understand that the primary function of the board, in addition to providing policy, is, according to Texas Education Code, to monitor the finances of the district. That means you've got to be able to handle that and know how to do that and make that work effectively. Because I would add to what Ms. Babick said, we're not just to be the voice of the parents, the students, and the teachers. We're to be your voice, the voice of the community. We're responsible for $750 million worth of your money. And we have to be able to actively make sure that's well used to serve all of our children. And that's the role that I hope to fill.
Mr. Benavides.
I believe that as a trustee, they should have the common sense and the knowledge to be accountable to the taxpayer and to the parents. Trustees should promote and enhance the public education system by promoting progressive ideas with teachers and students because they set the guidelines for the superintendent. Thank you.
And Ms. Craig.
As a trustee, my role is a voice for students, for teachers, for taxpayers. That is my role. We do hire the superintendent. We do evaluate the superintendent, and he is, or she is, to run the district. Now, we are responsible to approve the budget. We do need to make our goals and set our vision, but and we try to work as a team with the superintendent. When we have training once a year at our district, we're required to do a team of 8 training. That's so we can work together and understand what our roles as a school board trustee is. And we don't ever want to step into that management position of the superintendent. Thank you.
All right, going on to the next question. As a trustee, how would you motivate teachers in your district to become master teachers who will inspire students to learn at their highest level? Mr. Gregory, we'll start with you.
Ooh, that's a challenging question. How do you motivate anyone? Financial, that's one aspect. But actually what I think the best answer to give to you is that I would appeal to their professional integrity. Number one, anyone who wants to teach obviously has a passion for it. I certainly did not have that passion. I'm thankful my bride of almost 39 years did. So I would obviously want to appeal to their professional integrity. If they have the passion for it, I think that they will want to pursue any opportunities that allow them to become even better teachers. If that master teacher is a status or just merely a recognition that they're very good teachers, I would do anything I could to encourage those so inclined to teach and to help our young children. Thank you.
Mr. Randall.
Well, I have a sister who has been a teacher and a principal, and I guess when I started this process, there's one thing that she did tell me is that don't forget your teachers are the most important thing and most important employee and person in your district. They're the ones that build the relationship with your students, and they're the ones that through that relationship, will help your students achieve. I think we've got to support our teachers. We've got to give them the ability to use their creativity and the flexibility of the classroom to fit the needs of their individual classes in order to help their students achieve. And I think we must be able to do that from every part as a board member and all the way down through administration, that we got to give the teachers that support and the room to grow and to become a master teacher.
Ms. Babick.
One of the ways we motivate our teachers in our district, even with the current budget issues, is every 5 years we have longevity pay, and each teacher after a 5-year increment receives a bonus, and I know a lot of teachers that really look forward to that. And as far as motivating the students, getting the teachers to motivate the students, I actually went back to the basics on this, and respect was number one in my classroom. My students use please and thank you, and I used it with them. If you have respect from administration down through the teachers, and the teachers have it through the students, it's incredible. I had very, very little discipline problems respecting my students, and they respected me. I had them actually come up to me and say, I stayed at a DMC just so I could finish this project for you. It is a great motivator.
Mr. Galvez.
Definitely, we need to be sensitive to their thoughts, needs, and goals for their classroom. As a PTA vice president for the last 3 years, or the previous 3 years at Janie Stark Elementary, we really got involved with getting parents engaged, doing activities where kids had fun. We grew the PTA involvement or parent membership by over 40%, which was the best in the whole state of Texas. So we through PTA, we have done a lot of things to encourage and support teachers. We just had an event over the weekend at Janie Stark Elementary where we was able to bring in over 400 attendees out of 500 students. That means parents and students. And we grew our budget by we grew or grossed $10,000 just support activities in school and stuff like that, just on a 3-hour period. So supporting the teachers and being sensitive to their needs.
Ms. Grandel.
I have to say I'm extremely proud of our teachers in our district, and I think by allowing our teachers to have some freedom, like I said earlier when I talked about some of the programs that Carrollton Farmers Branch offers, if you have somebody who wants to be a kindergarten teacher in a kindergarten classroom and that's where they feel passionate about staying, that's great. But we also have so many programs that it doesn't matter what they're passionate about. There's a place for them to fit in and a place for them to excel. Using their creativity and using what they're passionate about. Like I've mentioned before, our dual language program, we have a biomedical academy. So if you're a teacher and you're passionate about sciences and kids getting into the medical field, we have a law academy. We have our special needs programs. And I know how gifted those teachers are. So by allowing teachers to have that freedom and finding the best fit for them is, to me, what allows them all to reach their maximum potential. Thank you.
Mr. Shackman.
This is a great question. If we're going to support our teachers, we need to get in there and put classrooms first. In the last 7 years, we have reduced the number of educational aides 18%. We have reduced assistant principals 16%. We have reduced the number of teachers 10%. We're not replacing people. We have classrooms with 34, 35, 36, 37 students. How can they teach effectively? We need to support them. We need to stop supporting the administration. We need to cut the administrative levels that have gone up 10 to 18%. Those are $70,000 a year jobs, and what's going begging is teachers. If we want to support teachers in our district, the best way to do it is get our budget priorities into the classroom. We could bring 14 more aides. We could bring 40 new teachers. We could bring 4 assistant principals back into our classrooms every day simply by going back to the 2006 levels of admin.
Mr. Benavides.
Education is the foundation for cultural and economic growth. Set the goal to make Irving Independent School District the best school district in the state. Provide information to parents about the importance of role models and mentoring programs at middle and high school level to encourage the impact education will have in the future of their children. And that would be very basic. And I would say if those directions could be implemented, these young people will have a better future in the education process. Thank you.
Ms. Craig.
Well, as a teacher, I will tell you what was always important to me. I always wanted to have some say in what we did. I wanted to have input in what we were doing in our district. I wanted to do, I know one of the things our superintendent has is he has the SAC so that people can come and voice their concerns. And he has teachers in that organization. And they come with the voice of teachers. I think it's important that we continue to give our teachers voices. We have many ways that we challenge them to become master teachers. We do staff development. We do the top of the line of staff development. Last year we did the Staff Development Institute at the Convention Center, and it was very, very successful. So I would continue to provide that staff development for teachers to make them want to be. Thank you.
Right. We have one more? Yeah.
One more. Hello.
I thought I was jumping the gun here.
We have to support our teachers so that they can do what they're there to do. We have to support them with the encouragement. 9/10 of education is encouragement. That's what teachers do for their students all the time. I used to keep charts, and I just go through the chart and make sure I didn't miss somebody in complimenting. That same story goes for administration, and it comes down through the teachers. If the teachers feel that their job is overwhelming that day, of just a few things of encouragement will go a long ways. That's the thing that everybody remembers. Oh, they told me this. This was great. One of the things that has to happen is encouragement. We have to have discipline in the classroom. The teachers, if they don't have the discipline that is needed, they cannot teach, and the students cannot be successful. So if that is not happening, we have teachers that have trouble inspiring their students if they're having to deal with the discipline. Thank you.
Going to the next question. Studies show that the target age for human trafficking is 12 to 13-year-old children. What actions would you pursue to address the growing human trafficking problem in schools? Mr. Randall, we'll start with you.
That's the first time we've been asked that question. That is a critical issue among our young people. I think the education is always the first thing you do is educate the students, educate the within that age group to make them understand what human trafficking is, what are the signs to look for that can get you into a situation that can cause that to happen to you. I do have a good friend that works that is on the board of Traffic 911. That is a nonprofit foundation that works with human trafficking. I think they're a great resource that we could bring into our schools and into our administration that would help educate us and educate our people and our students on what to look for to protect them from that happening to them.
Ms. Babick.
I think one of the most important things we could do to help this problem is get parents more involved and the community more involved with the schools. If the students feel like they belong somewhere, get them involved in activities in schools. Our district has a lot to offer as far as activities outside of school. If they feel like they belong into a group and they feel like people are watching out for them and they feel like they are part of something, they won't be as much open to that. They won't have as many people that would be able to get to them, so to speak. And educating the parents as well as the students will help them in this respect. Thank you.
Mr. Galvez.
Well, there's a handful. One of the things would be to start early working with the parents, getting the parents engaged, and even before school with programs like Head Start, programs like Adelante that encourages parents to get involved, and then working through elementary. I think elementary is a very critical stage where we need to work with kids and work with other resources within our communities. Like, for example, in my church, my wife and I, we're servants. We work at church hand on hand, working with kids, making sure the kids are aware. I'm a mentor to a ministry through my church that is called Royal Rangers. So we're engaged, we're involved. It's getting parents involved, working with kids, trying to provide kids the right information so that they are aware of all of these things that can cause them to deviate and do wrong things or be, at risk.
Ms. Grandel.
This is certainly an issue I'm aware of, but not as much aware of at necessarily a local level. So I will tell you that one of the first things I will do tomorrow is to go to my district and find out what they know as far as numbers, as far as risk factors. And I think this is an issue, like so many issues, when something begins to kind of raise its head, like the gang issue, when internet safety became an issue, if the Texas PTA can get a hold of a topic like this and work hand in hand with our local administrations. Texas PTA does a fantastic job at providing educational opportunities and speakers that will then go out and go around to the local school districts. And so this would be a place where I think would be an excellent opportunity to educate our parents about the warning signs, as well as educating our students about the risk factors. Thank you.
Mr. Shackman.
This issue is challenging and difficult for all of us, and especially those of us who are parents. There are some things I think that we can do. Much of it would be way beyond the local school board or school level, but there are some things in our schools. First of all, we need to make sure that we have age-appropriate, grade-appropriate curriculum that parents understand and are aware of so that we are informing students and parents. I think it also begs us to ask, what are the basic safety protocols in our schools, and how are we helping our students to understand those safety protocols and to understand things like safety getting to and from school. And so we can do a number of things in that area to make sure that we are maximizing efficiency and safety for our students so that they don't end up being snatched and in this type of an environment. Again, there's a lot of things that can be talked about, and many are beyond the purview of the ISD, but it is an issue we must constantly and unfortunately deal with.
Mr. Benavides.
I believe that the inculcation of discipline and upbringing and moral fiber is the responsibility of the parent, but also put together an independent committee from the business community, private sector, and law enforcement to gather data on issues such as this.
Thank you. Mrs. Craig.
It's a very sad issue. One of the things that we need to do is make sure that our young girls and young men are feeling strong about themselves and what they can do. Many extracurricular activities, I agree with Ms. Babick, and she said that if you get them involved in things, they might not be as an easy target. The other thing is we've got to remind children that they can't be alone by themselves. They need to go in groups, not just one person going by themselves. I think that's something that we need to do. We do need to educate, as Mr. Randall said. We need to educate our students. We need to educate our parents. We don't need to take for granted that they understand the situation. Also, it was mentioned the PTA. That's a great place to start because they are always looking for education programs to help our children. Thank you.
Mr. Mosty.
Well, this human trafficking, goes beyond. It just goes back to basic communication with the students, with their parents, and the teachers, and the counselors. The counselors are really overworked in the schools. They deal with a lot of schedule changes for weeks and weeks as it progresses along. They've got to, I don't know if they still have it, it was called Crime Stoppers, and they could submit questions and concerns to the police officers. We have police officers in the middle schools and the high schools, and they're listeners, and they're very confidential people. We have to let them know that there's somebody there that can help them, they can help their friend, and not be afraid to talk to these people. The administrators are overworked as the teachers are. The teachers, so we need to, they're worried about their lesson, they're worried about teaching, they're worried about getting their goals achieved. But communication and openness is what we need to do, and let the students know that we will listen to them.
Mr. Gregory.
I think all the candidates have done a good job in capturing most of the great ideas of addressing this issue. A previous children's minister at our church was from Atlanta, and she served on a board that dealt with specifically child sex trade activity. And she cited an interesting stat to me. She said the two cities that are heaviest in sex traffic are number 1, Atlanta, and number 2, Dallas. I would have figured the West Coast, but not so. So as I said, I think everybody's captured the ideas that we all need to be looking at. Early intervention, obviously, is one. Parental involvement, that's one that we've always chased for a long time, and we want to continue to do that. Partnering with local law enforcement, adopting best practices as they suggest to us, and partnering with the nonprofit agencies that deal with this particular problem.
Thanks. Next question. What current programs are available to encourage the involvement of parents in the education of their children? What additional initiatives might you suggest? Ms. Babick, we'll start with you.
Well, the most obvious programs are, of course, going to be the PTA. What a lot of people, I don't think, realize is, as Ms. Grandel had pointed out, we have a lot of wonderful programs available to the students. We've got several academies in several of the high schools. Our son, is in the International Business Academy at Newman Smith High School. And one thing they're doing, and I was helping on to get that involved, is start a parent group for that. You've got Orchestra Booster, you can get involved with that, Band Booster, cheerleading, all the booster clubs to get the parents involved. The most important thing is to make sure that your schools are inviting, and when parents come in, to be friendly towards them and ask them to help. As a teacher, ask them, will you help me? And that will help get people involved.
Mr. Galvez.
Obviously, to me, it would be to start with the PTA. PTA needs to and should be a critical component to the school district, to the local schools. I said that because I stated before, being involved with the PTA at Janie Stark Elementary, we started, or I was chair of an auction that sometimes Hispanic parents don't understand, Anglos do, but it was very successful. So parent involvement through a PTA is critical. During these events that we've been having at Janie Stark, the first year of the auction, we only had 150 parents or attendees. Second year, we had over 200. Third year, we had close to 400. And this past weekend, we had over 400. And, so getting parent involvement with school activities, it's very critical. And, J.D. Stark is a role model right now in the district.
Ms. Grandel.
Just in my involvement over the years, I have oldest child is in college, youngest is in middle school. There's a natural dropping off of parental involvement that seems to happen from elementary to middle to high school. So capturing those parents' attention and involvement when they're in elementary school, I think, is so incredibly critical. And I know one thing that we have done at some of our local schools has been to do the PTA programs, which usually have an educational component, but to have a program, something that the kids are doing, and that seems to be really successful in getting the parents to show up. So educational game nights, nights that have where the band or the orchestra performs, or different opportunities for students to showcase their talents. And one other thing I think that we've done at the middle school level, where it does really begin to drop off, is to have host evenings that kind of are rewards for kids that have been active in participating in the different groups and different extracurricular activities. Thank you.
Mr. Shackman.
I agree, and we have discussed and heard discussed PTA and boosters and a number of those things, and all of those are vitally important. Let me add one thing that we are doing in our district, particularly at R.L. Turner High School, and I think it is vital that schools no longer are islands unto themselves, but we actively reach out to engage the community. One of the things that we do at Turner is there are educational learning resources available for parents and for adults to come and learn everything from other languages to various types of skills and various training pieces in that educational center. And so one of the things that I think helps to encourage involvement, in addition to many of the things that my fellow candidates have already discussed, is how can we continue to find ways to engage community and parents in our schools more than just in some of the things like PTA and all of that. So finding some of those extra resources, and I certainly would be one who would want to support those kinds of initiatives.
Mr. Benavides?
Of course, as mentioned, PTA would be a good resource of productive initiative. But one of the things that you really have to look at is how effective are all these programs that are being mentioned or that are in place. Because you really don't know if these programs are really working, because the issue of getting the community involved and the population, the students, and also especially the teachers is something that really, in my assumption, is part of the issue that has not been addressed. So this whole issue needs to be really looked at not only by the trustees, but also getting the superintendent involved to make sure that the teachers start explaining these issues to the student body and also to the parents. Thank you.
Ms. Craig?
Thank you. First of all, we need to make our parents welcome in our schools. That's the very first thing that we need to do, is make sure that we are welcoming our parents. In Irving ISD, we have parent centers at every school now. I'm very grateful for that. We also have a parent academy that we do annually, and lots of our parents attend that. They're able to not only learn about things that they should know as parents, but they're also able to learn, they're also able to get some health resources that they might need. Parent Step Ahead, we have that in our district. Some additional initiatives that I think might be important is to continue, well, I guess it's not additional initiatives, but we have our nights of instruction where we have reading night. We have math night at some of our schools, at many of our schools. I would like to see us doing more effort in ESL for our parents so that they might learn English. Thank you.
Mr. Gregory?
Oh.
Mr. Mosty?
I'm still here. All right. And the elementaries do a great job. If you really want to see what's going on, you just take the computer away from your child and look at the website of any of the schools. They're loaded with ideas, they're loaded with suggestions, they're loaded with what's going on, when it's going to happen. And, of course, there's a real good way to always get them there. You want to feed them or have something, make it a festive occasion. But we are doing a great job. We have administrators that are in charge of the high school students. They're tracking the kids. They're trying to get the parents involved. That is their job, getting the parents involved, keeping their kids in school, and getting them to leave the district and go and get a professional degree of some sort. So we're not dropping the ball. We're just looking for new ideas. And of course, PTA has always been in my heart because that's where I've always stepped up to the plate, and I've received all the awards that they could give me because I always said yes. Thank you.
Mr. Gregory?
Well, I was asked this question in a previous forum, and my answer was, if I absolutely knew the answer to this, I would sell it and move to Maui. But obviously, we all don't have the answer, and there is not one the answer. And again, my colleagues have touched on a number of suggestions. I think it's a matter of educating parents. I think you make the assumption, whether it's valid or not, I think it would be in most cases, that the parents are interested in their children's performance and how well they do, and they want their children to get a good education. So I would give the parents specific duties and responsibilities and show them how by doing these things their children are going to benefit from this. Ms. Craig mentioned parent centers in the schools. You know, Mr. Schumer, who's one of the city council candidates, is I believe a graduate of North Hills, and his school does this thing, and I don't think we can get away with it. But either parents are required to commit a certain amount of time, or they pay a financial amount of money. Love to be able to do that.
All right, last question. Do you think...
Wait a minute, Randall. Randy.
Sorry.
You want to be finished.
You're going to fire me.
One more.
Mr. Randall,
Well, I
so
could make
sorry.
it short and just say ditto. But I will say one thing I did notice this past year when I went to, we have a lot of information online, parent centers, parent academies, and at all the campuses. So, but it is an issue that we continue to fight over the years. I mean, it's just there's parental involvement. I think we've got to kind of push the envelope a little bit and come up with some creative ideas of how we can engage the parents. By doing that, by getting the students involved in what you're trying to do. One example of that is Nimitz High School this year at their open house. I never saw so many adults in that high school in a long, long time. They had not only go through the classrooms of their students, but they had students participating, and they had quartets singing in the hall. They had one-act plays going on in the auditorium. I mean, it was an evening of entertainment as well as finding out what your kid's doing in school and finding out about the school. I think we need to find out what's working in each individual school that we have and figure out a way to put that plan in action for every school. Let's look at all of them and see what's not working and get it out and put those funds towards the ones that are working.
Thank you. Now, last question. Do you think the school system sufficiently provides educational opportunities for early childhood pre-K children? And please expand. Mr. Galvez, we'll start with you.
I don't know that all. Well, let me see the question again. Do you think the school system provides education? I don't know that it does. But I hope that every school does provide the best education in early childhood. I think this the critical component. It needs to provide this where everything starts, with parent involvement with kids and stuff like that. I know that with programs like Head Start and Adelante, it's a real good kickstart for all of these things. So I hope that all schools provide the best possible education at an early childhood, in pre-K or kindergarten.
Thank you. Ms. Grandel.
I think y'all can tell that I believe that our district does an outstanding job educating its students, and that starts with early childhood and pre-K. One thing I'm especially proud of that we do is from the age of 3 on, especially for parents that have any concern about whether or not their child might have some speech or learning deficits, there is testing available and programs that are implemented for kids that are at risk for possibly being diagnosed with autism or other learning programs. And I know that personally because I have a nephew who was diagnosed with mild autism and it was because they noticed that he wasn't speaking. The programs and the support that they received from our district to intervene at an early age has touched everybody that I've told the story to, and what they've provided for him has been amazing. Thank you.
Mr. Shackman.
The better the quality of support and education for pre-K and early childhood, the better the student will perform all the way through school. We have some terrific programs. We have not been funding them as effectively as I think we could. We reduced a pre-K center in our district within the last couple of years. I have spoken to kindergarten teachers right now in our district who their class sizes have almost doubled. They no longer have an aide, and they're now required to help clean the cafeteria. We can do more effective providing of resources at early childhood and at pre-K, and we can do more to grow our entire early childhood system as we support our teachers more effectively, we cut the administrative red tape and overhead, and we bring our focus back to the classroom. Thank you.
Mr. Benavides.
One thing that I would say from the beginning is how recent has there been an evaluation in this pre-K program. This is one area that I feel that really needs to be looked at very close, because this is the beginning of these young people's lives, and you don't have the right teachers. If you don't have the teachers that are supposed to be properly trained to direct these young people are going to have problems as they continue on through their school years.
Ms. Craig.
Thank you. Do we sufficiently provide educational opportunities for early childhood? I don't know that you ever can for all your pre-K. I know that we're doing the best we can right now with the funds that we have. I would like to someday see pre-K offered to everyone. Right now, it's offered to those that qualified, either by being a English second language or economically disadvantaged. So we need to continue those programs that we have there. Presently, we have 13 Head Start classrooms, and each one of our classrooms has a paraprofessional there to help the teacher. So I think we are reaching those kids. Those kids definitely that would experience a gap normally when they go to kindergarten are doing well, because they've had pre-K. So we must continue to do that as much as possible. And I would love to see everybody be able to qualify.
Mr. Mosty.
Yes, I wish my kids could have gone, but we didn't qualify. So we tried to figure out if his speech was not good or there's something going on, but we went through all the testing and we still didn't get there. Anyway, all your teachers we use the word ESL, that's English as a second language. That's what all of our children are dealing with when they go to the pre-K, whether it be Spanish or whatever language it is. Those teachers are they're nurturing, they do a lot of hands-on activities. With the budget cuts, it went all the way from the top to the bottom, down in the pre-K. The librarian that was a full-time librarian was now a half-time librarian. She supplies all the books for all the schools, all the classrooms, and they have to rotate them quite rapidly. And she's also in charge of all the computers and the maintenance. So, getting some more help, the paraprofessionals, those are the things that would make our schools more successful. Thank you.
Mr. Gregory.
As Mr. Shackman said, this level of education is foundational, absolutely foundational. And we have a lot of parents who do that as well they should. They are providing and laying the foundation for their children by reading to them early and allowing them to read early, and that's very, very important. And so the 3 childhood centers that Irving has, Pierce, Kincaid, and Clifton, as Ms. Craig said, targets populations that are less resourceful, that don't have the resources and don't have the educational levels to do that. So I think the district has addressed that, has done a good job in addressing that, and as a board member, I would continue to look to see if we are getting proper funding for it, knowing full well that it is a very important and foundational thing for our students. Thank you.
Mr. Randall.
Well, I think this is a situation where you have to qualify for a program, and it kind of reminds me of when I was trying to get my son into college, and you kind of fall into that middle class area where you don't qualify for any funding at all, and you get really no help from anywhere. So I think we've got to figure out a way to expand that opportunities for not only those that qualify, but expand it to those that are just not able to afford it because of other financial responsibilities. And I think there's opportunities to do that if we look at our budget. I think there's plenty of ways that we can just spend our tax dollars more effectively and more efficiently to where we can offer and put more money back in the classrooms. And when we do, I think we need to start it at the pre-K and early childhood level.
Ms. Babick.
Okay, so we know that you have to qualify for pre-K in the districts. And Mr. Shackman had said that we had shut down our pre-K center. Well, we did, but what we did was we moved them to the students' home schools. And this was done for budgetary reasons for the district. We are continually having to do more with less in our district, as all districts at this time. And by moving the pre-K centers back into the home schools, we don't have to keep up with the upkeep of the building as much. It's still used, part of it, for daycare for some of the teachers, so they've used that. And then transportation. If the students are at their home schools, then the district doesn't have to worry about getting them to their schools because they all live within a 2-mile radius of their building.
All right. We're out of questions, and we're going to move now to the 1-minute closing statements, starting with Ms. Grandel.
Thank you again for hosting us tonight. I just want to kind of end on a note. If there are any other questions you have for me, I'll be around for a few minutes afterwards, but I also know that you can go to the Dallas Voters Guide, and there's a list of questions that we answered that are there as well. I know you can tell by what I've said, I'm extremely supportive and proud of what our district is doing, especially knowing the kind of cuts that surrounding districts have had to make, the way that we have been able to continue our programs without cutting teachers, firing teachers, and slashing programs. Anybody we've lost has been through attrition. And one thing I would want to end on and ask Mr. Shackman is, his numbers have gone from our teacher reduction. The first 2 forums, he said we've cut our teacher force by 5%. The third forum, he said 9%, and tonight he said 10%. And I do not believe that is accurate. My name is Melinda Grandel. I'm running for Place 5, and I would love the opportunity, be honored to represent you. Thank you.
Mr. Shackman.
I'm Randy Shackman, running for school board, obviously, and would love to have your vote. Guess I probably need to answer a question. This is the budget book. It is the district's figures. The 9% number is in here. That's the number I've consistently used. We have 9% less teachers. It's on file with the TEA. We have 10% more administrators. We have a motto that says high achievement for all students. The trend in our district is becoming high salary for all administrators, and we've got to stop that. We have good schools. We have terrific teachers. We need to support them properly. I have the experience and the tested leadership to make that happen, and we can and will make that happen, and I want to bring that leadership to our district. I am excited that we can change those trends. We can get more teachers in the classroom. We can cut administrative red tape, and we can build the strength of a good district and make it even stronger. I'd love to talk to you about that. RandyForSchoolBoard.com is a place you can check that out. Thank you. God bless, and God bless our schools.
Mr. Benavides.
A candidate for the School Board of Trustees in the Irving Independent School District for District 5. I have a vision for the road to excellence in the 21st century for the Irving Independent School District. I propose a new vision to produce superior learners, spend the money required in the classroom, never accept any excuse for mediocrity. And why do I say this? Because being a trustee, you look at what is being presented in front of you, and what is in front of you is the future of these young people that are going to be required to have a lesson or an education that is going to be acceptable to them as they exit from the school system. Thank you. And again, my name is Manuel Benavides. I'm a candidate for District 5 for the School Board of Trustees.
Ms. Craig.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters, first of all, for having us be able to present our thoughts and feelings toward the voters here. I have been blessed the last 3 years to serve as a trustee in this district. I would like to continue to serve in this district. I am very open-minded. I listen when I go to a board meeting. I never make a decision until I've heard everybody's thoughts. And I never go with my mind made up about what I'm going to vote on any certain item. So I would ask you to consider voting for me. I think the experience that I have on the board will add to that this year and the next 3 years. Thank you.
Mr. Mosty.
Turn it on. Yes, my life is like a piece of paper, and everything that has passed by has been written down, and every child that has come by has left something with me that I bring to the board. Every parent that I've been involved with throughout the schools, I know what's going on in the schools. I know the weaknesses, and I know the strengths. I can be your top-notch, knowledgeable person for new leadership on the school board. Yes, I can listen. That's the great thing about knocking on doors. You get to listen. I know what the issues are of the schools, and I know what needs to be done. I've shown community involvement, and I would love to continue community involvement with our school district. I have shown community involvement in my other places in the school district, the city, as well as the positions of leadership in my church. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gregory.
Again, thank you for allowing us to present our ideas. An Irving principal is quoted as saying that the educator's job is to prepare children for jobs that don't even exist yet. In order to do that, they have to possess certain core competencies, which I call reading, writing, calculating, and thinking critically. Very important. That is why we need to partner with the business community, partner with institutions of higher learning, who tell us exactly what they expect of our graduates. They know what to expect from their job requirements, and so we need to be able to do that. My approach to decision making is recognizing that it is a cost-benefit analysis. We need to be able to determine cost and benefits of various solutions and make judgment calls based on listening to every resource that we have available. I had a reputation when I served on the board previously for asking a lot of questions. That's how I get information. And so I appreciate your consideration voting for me, Mike Gregory, District 7, at-large, Irving ISD. Thank you.
Mr. Randall.
Yes, appreciate the opportunity to be here. I think, as we say, teachers have to, they have a passion for teaching, and as you run as a candidate for an office, especially if you haven't been on a board before, I think you realize you gain a passion for what you want to do on the school board. I'm very proud of our school district. I think we have a good school district. I'm proud of our community. I think our community offers many opportunities for our students. But we do have issues. We have concerns that we need to address. Those concerns could be from improving teacher morale, discipline policies, grading procedures, retaining our quality teachers, curriculum issues, board cohesive issues. I can do two things. I can assure you that I will bring you positive change to these schools. I will work diligently to do that. And I will bring a positive, cohesive leadership to this board, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Ms. Babick.
Hi, and thank you again for having us tonight. What I want to say about this district is obvious. It's an incredible school district. I also have the budget book, and I've sat down with Mark Hyatt, who's our person who deals with the budget, and he's taught me quite a bit, and I have learned an incredible amount by going through this. First and foremost, never in a million years would we ever be able to pay teachers what they deserve for what they do for our students. Right now, instruction with our district, 55% of our budget goes to that, and only 3% go to our top administration. What I want to say about the district in general is, as I said before, it's incredible. Dr. Burns, our superintendent, I have a good working relationship with him. He was my principal when I worked at Perry Middle School. I work with him well, but I have my own thoughts, and he knows that well. Thank you.
Mr. Galvez.
I want to thank everyone for taking your time to be here and staying late here with us. I will bring my diverse background, and I will continue to break barriers like I did in learning the English language, which I'm still learning. I will be involved. You can trust me, and I will be dedicated. I will be a humble leader, a humble servant. And it takes all of us to work together, not just us. It takes you guys. I'm committed to work with you guys. It takes a whole community to grow a child, And my 4 points that I would be involved would be maintain fiscal responsibility, preserve a safe learning environment, provide every opportunity for high achievement for all students, and encourage retention and recruitment of quality teachers. Once again, my name is Jose Galvez, and I'm running for CFB-ISD School District, Place 5. I'm asking for your support and your vote. Thank you.
That concludes the forum. Shall we show our appreciation and applause? Don't forget about voting starting on Monday, April 29th, runs through May 7th, Election Day, Saturday, May 11th. Thank you for coming.
Well,